Thich Nhat Hanh believed that overthinking is rarely about thinking. It is often a quiet way of escaping the reality we are afraid to feel. Most people believe their suffering comes from having too many thoughts. They try to silence the mind. They search for better habits, better routines, better answers. Yet, the mind keeps running. Perhaps the problem has never been the thoughts themselves. Perhaps every thought is a door that keeps you from entering the room where your real pain is waiting. That sounds unsettling. It is meant to. Because if overthinking is an escape, then the question is no longer, how do I stop thinking? The question becomes, what am I trying so hard not to feel? Thich Nhat Hanh never taught that peace comes from forcing the mind into silence. He taught that peace begins when we have the courage to come home to ourselves. Not tomorrow, not after solving every problem. Now, the greatest journey is not away from suffering. It is toward it with enough gentleness that suffering no longer needs to hide behind endless thoughts. When people become trapped in overthinking, they often turn against their own minds. They say things like, "My brain won't stop. I wish I could shut it off. I hate how much I think." Without realizing it, they create a second layer of suffering. The first layer is the original pain. The second layer is the war against themselves. Thich Nhat Hanh invited us to take a completely different path. Instead of asking how to defeat the mind, he encouraged us to understand it. Every part of us is trying to help, even when it does so imperfectly. Imagine a frightened child who keeps talking because silence feels dangerous. Would you tell that child to be quiet? Or would you first wonder what has frightened them so deeply? Our thinking mind often behaves in the same way. It speaks because it is afraid. It plans because it is uncertain. It analyzes because it wants to protect us from making another mistake. It replays old conversations because it hopes that somehow the past can be repaired. None of these strategies truly free us, but they reveal something important. The mind is not trying to destroy us. It is trying to keep us safe. Unfortunately, safety built on constant thinking is fragile. The more we depend on thought to control life, the more life slips beyond our control. There is always another possibility, another fear, another scenario, another question. The thinking never ends because reality itself can never be fully controlled. That is why Thich Nhat Hanh placed so much emphasis on awareness rather than control. Awareness changes the relationship. Control tries to eliminate experience. Awareness learns to embrace it. In the Miracle of Mindfulness, Thich Nhat Hanh describes mindfulness as the energy that helps us recognize what is happening in the present moment. Recognition comes before transformation. We often want transformation first. We want anxiety to disappear. We want fear to leave. We want overthinking to stop. Yet mindfulness quietly asks something else. Can you simply recognize what is here? Not judge it, not fix it, just recognize it. This sounds almost too simple, but simplicity is often mistaken for weakness. Recognition is an act of courage. The moment you honestly admit, "I am afraid," something changes. You are no longer completely inside the fear. You are also the one who sees it. That small shift creates space. And within that space, freedom begins. The thoughts may still come, but they no longer define who you are. Instead of saying, "I am an overthinker," you begin to notice overthinking is happening. This difference is subtle. It is also profound. You stop becoming the storm. You become the sky that allows the storm to pass. Thich Nhat Hanh often reminded us that awareness itself carries healing. Not because awareness magically removes pain, but because pain no longer has to hide. Perhaps this is why fighting our thoughts rarely works. Every battle feeds the conflict. Every attempt to suppress them gives them more importance. The mind grows louder because it believes the danger has become greater. Compassion creates the opposite effect. When something feels accepted, it no longer needs to shout. Maybe your thoughts are not asking for more attention. Maybe they are asking for more understanding. Pause for a moment. If every anxious thought has been trying to protect you, even imperfectly, could you meet it with kindness instead of frustration? People rarely run away from reality all at once. It happens quietly, almost invisibly. One thought becomes 10. 10 become 100. Soon the entire day has disappeared inside the mind. The body sits in one place. The mind travels everywhere else. It revisits yesterday. It rehearses tomorrow. It imagines conversations that may never happen. It argues with people who are not even present. All the while, this moment passes unnoticed. Thich Nhat Hanh gently pointed to this habit throughout his teachings. We believe the next thought will finally solve our discomfort. Instead, each thought pulls us a little farther away from direct experience. This is why mindfulness begins with something so ordinary: a single breath. Not because breathing is magical, because breathing is real. Reality is always simple. The mind prefers complexity. Reality asks only one thing: be here. The mind responds with 1,000 objections. What about next week? What if something goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I regret this decision? What if people judge me? The questions multiply endlessly. Meanwhile, life continues unfolding without waiting. In peace is every step, Thich Nhat Hanh wrote. The present moment is the only moment available to us. This is not a motivational slogan. It is an observation. No one has ever lived yesterday again. No one has ever entered tomorrow. Life only appears here. And yet we spend astonishing amounts of energy living somewhere else. Sometimes we escape into productivity. Sometimes into entertainment. Sometimes into endless planning. Sometimes into endless thinking. These escapes look different on the surface. Their purpose is often the same: to avoid sitting quietly with whatever hurts inside. The difficulty is that avoided pain does not disappear. It simply waits. It waits beneath busy schedules. It waits beneath constant distraction. It waits beneath endless analysis. Soon the mind becomes exhausted, not because it has thought too much, but because it has been carrying emotions it never allowed itself to feel. Imagine holding a heavy bag every day. After months, your shoulders ache. You might believe the problem is your shoulders. In truth, the weight has never been put down. Our emotional lives work much the same way. Unfelt sadness becomes tension. Unspoken fear becomes anxiety. Unrecognized loneliness becomes restless thinking. The thoughts are visible. The deeper emotions remain hidden beneath them. This is why mindfulness does not begin by asking, "What are you thinking?" It quietly asks, "What are you feeling?" The answer is often softer than expected. I feel lonely. I feel unsafe. I feel ashamed. I feel tired. Simple truths. Human truths. Truths that the thinking mind has been trying to protect us from facing. Ironically, the moment we stop running from these feelings, they often become less frightening. They finally receive what they have always needed: our presence. Not our judgment. Not our solutions. Just our presence. Perhaps this is what coming home truly means. Not finding a perfect life. Not eliminating uncertainty. Simply becoming willing to stay with ourselves exactly as we are, even when that feels uncomfortable. And perhaps the reality you have been trying to escape has never been your life at all. perhaps it has only been your own heart quietly asking to be seen. There is a reason many people reach for their phones the moment they wake up. There is a reason the television stays on, even when no one is watching. There is a reason music fills every quiet space. Silence can feel frightening, not because silence is empty, because silence allows us to hear what noise has been covering. Thich Nhat Hanh never described mindfulness as an escape from life. He described it as a return to the body, a return to the breath, a return to the home we quietly abandon while chasing certainty. For many people, that return is uncomfortable. The moment they stop moving, sadness appears. The moment they stop scrolling, loneliness begins to speak. The moment they stop planning, fear quietly enters the room. Nothing new has been created. These feelings were already there. The silence simply makes them visible. This is why mindfulness is often misunderstood. People imagine that becoming mindful should immediately make them peaceful. Then they become discouraged when they discover anxiety instead. But mindfulness did not create the anxiety. It revealed what had already been waiting beneath distraction. Imagine walking into a room that has been dark for years. When you turn on the light, you see dust everywhere. The light did not create the dust. It simply allowed you to see it. Awareness works the same way. It is not the cause of suffering. It is the beginning of honesty. Thich Nhat Hanh often reminded us that recognition itself is an act of love. When we recognize our suffering without pushing it away, we stop treating ourselves like strangers. Instead, we begin to become a true friend to ourselves. Many of us know how to comfort others. We know how to sit beside someone who is grieving. We know how to listen without interrupting. We know how to offer warmth without trying to fix everything. Yet when sadness appears in our own hearts, we become impatient. We tell ourselves to move on, to stay positive, to stop being so emotional. We demand from ourselves what we would never demand from someone we love. That quiet cruelty often keeps suffering alive. Mindfulness offers another possibility. Instead of asking, "How can I get rid of this feeling?" we gently ask, "Can I stay with this feeling for one more breath?" That question changes everything. It removes the pressure to solve. It replaces it with the willingness to accompany. This is the spirit that runs through Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings. Presence before perfection. Compassion before control. Understanding before judgment. In the Miracle of Mindfulness, he reminds us that the miracle is not something extraordinary. The miracle is to be fully present on the earth in this moment. Presence sounds ordinary, yet it may be the rarest experience in modern life. We are trained to perform, to achieve, to improve, to optimize every hour. Very few of us are taught how to simply be. And because we never learn how to be with ourselves, we become frightened of stillness. The silence feels unbearable because we have forgotten that silence is not emptiness. Silence is where the heart finally has room to speak. Perhaps the next time you notice your mind racing, you do not need to ask how to make it stop. Perhaps you can ask a quieter question. What feeling has been waiting patiently beneath all these thoughts? The mind has a remarkable ability to create worlds that do not exist. It imagines conversations before they happen. It predicts failure before the first step is taken. It rehearses rejection before anyone has spoken. Sometimes it creates a future so frightening that the present moment becomes impossible to enjoy. Overthinking feeds on these imagined realities. The more attention we give them, the more convincing they become. Soon we no longer respond to life itself. We respond to stories about life. Thich Nhat Hanh gently invited us back to something much simpler. He invited us to return to what is actually here. Not what might happen, not what should have happened, only what is present now. This does not mean ignoring real difficulties. Life contains loss. It contains illness. It contains uncertainty. The Buddha never denied this truth. Neither did Thich Nhat Hanh. What he offered was not an escape from suffering. He offered freedom from adding unnecessary suffering through constant mental projection. Most of the time, the present moment is far less frightening than the future our minds invent. Right now, perhaps you are simply sitting in a chair. Perhaps your breath is quietly moving in and out. Perhaps light is entering through a window. Perhaps there is a cup of tea beside you. Nothing extraordinary is happening, and yet life is completely present. In peace is every step. Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that the present moment contains many conditions for happiness. We rarely notice them because our attention has already left. We search for happiness somewhere ahead. We search for peace after every problem has been solved. We postpone living until life becomes perfect. That day never comes. The mind always discovers one more condition, one more obstacle, one more reason to wait. Mindfulness quietly interrupts this endless postponement. It asks us to notice that life has never stopped arriving. It has only stopped receiving our full attention. Think of a cloud drifting across the sky. Thich Nhat Hanh often used the image of the cloud to illustrate interbeing and impermanence. When the cloud disappears, it has not died. It has become rain. It has become a river. It has become tea in your cup. Nothing is truly separate. Nothing is completely lost. Life is constantly transforming. When we deeply see this, we also begin to understand ourselves differently. Our fear is not permanent. Our anxiety is not permanent. Even our restless thinking is not permanent. Everything is changing. Everything is moving. The mistake is believing that one difficult moment defines an entire life. It does not. The present moment is always fresh. It is always inviting us to begin again, not by becoming someone new, but by becoming fully available to the person we already are. Perhaps this is why Thich Nhat Hanh loved such ordinary acts. Walking, breathing, drinking tea, smiling, opening a door. These actions seem too small to matter, yet they return us to reality. Reality is where healing happens, not inside endless theories, not inside imagined futures, only here, only now. The mind says, keep searching. Life whispers, you have already arrived. Perhaps the greatest surprise is this. Reality has never been asking you to become perfect. It has only been waiting for you to come home. Perhaps you have spent years believing that your greatest struggle was overthinking. You tried to organize your thoughts. You tried to silence your mind. You searched for one more insight that would finally bring peace. Yet the peace you were searching for was never hiding inside another thought. It was waiting beneath them. Thich Nhat Hanh devoted his life to reminding us that we do not need to run away from ourselves. We only need the courage to return, not with force, not with judgment, but with a gentle awareness that every breath offers another chance to come home. The mind may continue to produce thoughts. That is its nature. The heart may continue to feel pain. That is part of being human. But neither thought nor pain has the final word. The final word belongs to your capacity to be present, to recognize, to embrace, to remain. Maybe overthinking has never been proof that something is wrong with you. Maybe it has been the quiet voice of a heart asking not to be left alone. And if that is true, what would happen if, instead of escaping reality, You finally allowed yourself to live it.